Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, today we are interviewing the Honorable Prime Minister of Pakistan, His Excellency Mr. Imran Khan. In fact, today is the first international exclusive interview granted by His Excellency Mr. Imran Khan to Al-Ikhtariya, so I would like to thank him very much for this opportunity. Today also we are going to speak with a very legendary leader who has a vision, who has struggled for more than 22 years for the sake of New Pakistan. He will be speaking about New Pakistan, how he looks on his relationship with Saudi Arabia, who's going to visit, how he is going to tackle the multiple crises facing Pakistan. So thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister, and we are welcoming you once again.
Thank you. Look forward
Excellency,
look forward to the interview. Yes.
Excellency, in fact, I would like to begin with the question of the hour. Who is Imran Khan? Is he a very prominent cricketer, or is he known for the behind the world finest cancer hospital, or he is a leader who struggled 22 years to bring Pakistan to the new vision and new Pakistan we would like to know. Can you please, Excellency, enlighten us that who is Imran Khan?
Imran Khan is an ordinary human being who had big dreams. So an ordinary person who dreamt big, who thought big, and then who struggled to get to achieve his dreams. And each time there was a setback in my life, I learned from my bad times. So I never got demoralized by bad times, but I learned from them, because failure is the best teacher. So who is Imran Khan? Is a man who started off with big dreams in cricket, learned how to struggle in cricket, how to win and how not to be demoralized by losing. And then seeing my mother's pain with cancer, decided to build a cancer hospital. And so after my cricket, I built the hospital. And then I decided that I wanted to, the Pakistan I grew up, and I wanted to see it was no longer the Pakistan was not heading in that direction. So then the next struggle came to change Pakistan. And the word New Pakistan is actually the Pakistan which the vision of our founding fathers. My great role model was Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. He was the greatest leader of not just Pakistan, in my opinion. He was the greatest leader of the 20th century. And the Pakistan our leader dreamt of, and then our ideological leader, the great Iqbal, the philosopher poet, the reason why they wanted Pakistan was not the Pakistan which evolved and which became a country heading in the wrong direction. So hence I went into politics. And so 22 years struggle in politics, and here I have an opportunity now to fulfill my dream. So power is only meant for a purpose, and so the power I have is now to achieve my last dream, which is to see Pakistan as a humane, as a state which is justice, a state where there is meritocracy, an Islamic welfare state.
Very good. But Excellency, I totally understand that the Honorable Prime Minister is very transparent, very direct in his approach. Do you think that during the 5 years of your tenure, you can solve the century-long multiple crises which faces Pakistan?
Look, let me just say, as a Muslim,
yes,
when we pray 5 times a day, we only ask one thing from Allah. And we ask Allah to show us the way of those He has blessed, not the ones who've gone astray. So all the Almighty asks us is to seek that way. And, success is not in our hands, it's in Allah's hands. All He expects us to do is to struggle in that way which He has commanded us. And so all we are going to try and do is to change the direction of Pakistan, put it on the road which this state was meant to be. And I repeat, it was meant to be a just and a humane society. So this is what we are going to try and do. We will change the way Pakistan is run. We will change the mindset of people of Pakistan. And there are two ways we'll do it. One, we will lift up the bottom 50% of the population. Rather than make the rich grow richer, we will bring people out of poverty, very much like what China has done. China's greatness is that it has taken out of poverty 700 million people in the last 30 years. And it has become a world power. What we want to do is not do what Pakistan has been run for so many years, where the rich have got richer. We want to raise the poor people, the deprived people of Pakistan. We want to raise their standard of living. So we fundamentally differ from the way the Pakistan has been run before. So that's number one. And number two, we want to make Pakistan a country where we invest in our human resources. We spend money on our human beings rather than on infrastructure. Once you develop your human beings, they themselves invest in infrastructure. So the key is their health, their education, clean drinking water, give them justice. So that's the number two thing. And number three is build strong institutions. Countries are built on institutions. So the West is ahead of the Muslim world is because the West has strong institutions. The state institutions are strong, and the individuals are not above the institutions. And unfortunately in our country we have weak institutions, and weak institutions means that the individuals are strong. So for instance, in a country like Switzerland, in the Scandinavian countries, you don't even know who their prime minister is, because the institutions are so strong. People come and go, but the country stays on top. Unfortunately, in our countries, we suffer from we've suffered from colonial rule, and then we are evolving countries, evolving democracies, and so therefore we have weak institutions. And so, apart from spending money on our human beings, we will develop strengthen state.
It seems, that this proactive local diplomacy has been reflected by the new vision of the new Pakistan, a proactive foreign policy. So we have monitored the movement of the foreign Pakistani policy. So how you see the proactive Pakistani policy in the geopolitical scenario international and in the Islamic arena, and positioning Pakistan's role in strengthening the strategic relationship with Saudi Arabia?
Well, let me first say that Pakistan has suffered in the last 15 years because of the war on terror. Pakistan opted to join the war on terror, which had nothing to do with Pakistan. 9/11, the people who were responsible for 9/11 were not in Pakistan. No Pakistani was involved, and Al-Qaeda was in Afghanistan, and for no reason Pakistan got involved in this war, and we suffered. So up to date we have 88,000 Pakistanis have died in this war, and the loss to the economy has been over $100 billion, and our tribal areas along the border of Afghanistan have been devastated. So what we now want is peace. We want stability in Pakistan. To get stability, we need peace with all our neighbors. We already have very good relationship with China. We need good relationship with Afghanistan and India. We have made overtures to both. We want to develop a new relationship with both Afghanistan and India, a relationship based on mutual trust. Unfortunately, this is what has been missing. Pakistan has one point of view, India and Afghanistan have another point of view. And what is lacking is that there is lack of trust, a trust deficit. So we want to build our relationship based on mutual trust. And Iran is a neighbor. Of course, we want a good relationship with all our neighbors. Saudi Arabia is one country which has, people in Pakistan have a special love for Saudi Arabia. Of course, the main reason is because of Makkah and Medina. You know, every Muslim has a special bond with Saudi Arabia. But the governments of Saudi Arabia have always been very generous to Pakistan in times of our need. When we have had crisis in our country, Saudi Arabia has always been of great help to us. So there's this special bond with Saudi Arabia. And of course, Pakistanis all want Saudi Arabia to be secure, prosperous, for their well-being. We all pray for Saudi Arabia.
So my question, Excellency, is why you have chosen Saudi Arabia to be your first destination in the foreign trips?
I did not want to go out of Pakistan for first 3 months.
3 months, yes, I see.
And the reason is because, we're faced with diverse, multi-crises. And so, first of all, I wanted to put my house in order before traveling out of the country. I actually do not believe in traveling out of the country so much, because I think the most important thing for the head of a country is to look after various problems his people face. But Saudi Arabia, I'm going first of all very kindly invited by His Majesty. Of course, the chance, whenever a Muslim has a chance to go to Makkah and Medina, that's why I made an exception. And of course, historically, Pakistanis, whenever elections take place and someone wins the election, historically, we always go to Saudi Arabia first.
So, Excellency, how do you see, the future relationship between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan? How Pakistan could position itself in the Middle East and the Islamic arena? How could Saudi Arabia and Pakistan work together, maintaining peace in the region, projecting moderation, and in combating terrorism, and to bring about peace internationally?
Stand by Saudi Arabia whenever they face difficult times. Secondly, ideally what we would like to do is to ensure peace in the Middle East, because it is very distressing for Muslims to see this conflict between Muslim nations. I mean, if you look at the Muslim world right now, and you look Libya, and then you see Somalia, and then you see Syria, what's going on there, and then Afghanistan, Pakistan too, but Pakistan, fortunately, we have controlled our terrorism here. So, we would like peace in the Middle East, and therefore we would like to play the role of conciliator, getting, the Muslim world together. This would be our main effort. And then Yemen, Yemen is also, if need be, if we are required, we would like to play a positive role there. Also can bring countries together.
Pakistan is emerging now, economy, Saudi Arabia already having 2030, especially in the economic. How do you think, Excellency, both countries can work together? In which area do you feel that to be enhanced, economy, business, media, industry? What are the areas, military cooperation, what are the areas do you feel that needs to be more explored in this relation?
You see, Pakistan has tremendous opportunities of investment. And Pakistan has more potential than probably any other country in this region. The reason is Pakistan has a second youngest population. It's a country of population of 200 million people. It's a country that is very diverse. One of the things no one really knows about Pakistan is that it has 12 climates, 12 climate zones, because Pakistan has the highest from the highest to the sea, it has the steepest gradient, so which means different climate on every step. We have from alpine climate, to temperate mountain climates to actually tropical climate.
12 climates?
Yes, 12 different climate zones.
So every climate, every month, we can say?
No, it means that on a different height there is a different climate.
Okay.
And so from north to south it changes. So Pakistan has of producing anything. We can produce any fruit, we can produce any vegetables because of this diversity we have. Then it varies from east to west. It has very fertile land, and we have huge mineral wealth which is mostly lying untapped, coal reserves, copper, undiscovered gold reserves, but various other jewels, minerals. Problem Pakistan has had so far, the reason why we cannot exploit our potential is because of poor governance. The reason why countries are poor is not because of lack of resources, because of poor governance. So we really need to work on our governance system. And once and this is our biggest, when I say improving institutions, strong institutions means strong governance. And when you have good governance, you then attract investment. So the reason I did not want to leave Pakistan for 3 months, and I will stay most of the time in Pakistan, I will not travel, because we need to fix our governance system. Once the governance system starts working, Pakistan would probably be one of the best countries for investment. Simply because it's a 200 million population, one of the youngest population, which means it has the engine for growth, provided, as I say, we fix our governance system. So Saudi Arabia will inshallah offer great opportunities for investment in Pakistan.
Do you see, Excellency, do you see any scope of Saudi Arabia, investing in China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC?
CPEC is one of the greatest opportunities which allows people to invest in Pakistan. CPEC connects Pakistan from the sea right up to China, and all along the way there will be industrial zones which will be a great opportunity for people to invest. So and in future, and inshallah, once peace comes in Afghanistan, then the same road will connect Pakistan to Central Asia, because the CPEC then can also go through Afghanistan to Central Asia. So this whole area is
a game changer.
Is where the future is.
Yes.
It has huge markets, and inshallah one day if relationship improves with India, then you have huge Indian market on one side, you have Chinese market, you have Central Asia. So Pakistan is sitting, the geostrategic position of Pakistan is such.
Sir, I felt you are speaking when you spoke about the Middle East from suffering, and I can feel that in your voice. The Middle East has been under a heavy crisis to a sectarian war. Going on in Syria and Iraq and Yemen and Lebanon. Pakistan itself has faced a proxy war from within. So how do you see Saudi Arabia and Pakistan working together to enhance peace and to move towards a better free zone, free of violence, free of sectarian, free of war?
Saudi Arabia is a pivotal country in the Muslim world. And one of the reasons, of course, is because of the power Saudi has, but because of oil reserves and the strength, the financial strength. But equally because of Makkah and Medina there. So all Muslims it's like a center for the Muslim world. So therefore, Saudi Arabia can play a big part, and we would like to become a player also in ending these conflicts and getting people together, because this really benefits the enemies of the Muslim world. And if we can play a part in putting out these fires.
Excellency, Saudi Arabia, in fact, unfortunately was under attack by Houthi militia, missile, and they were also trying to attack the Holy Haram. How will your government respond if there is an attack on Saudi Arabia, which has the two holy land?
This is a stated position of all our governments in Pakistan, that we will not allow anyone to attack Saudi Arabia. We will stand by Saudi Arabia. But I can just say one thing, that all conflicts can be resolved through political dialogue.
Sahih.
I mean, you could look at Afghanistan. The conflict in Afghanistan is now 16 years it's been going on. And for a long time, people like me kept saying that there is no military solution in Afghanistan. And we were branded as pro-Taliban or Taliban Khan. But now everyone realizes that there is only one solution in Afghanistan, and that's a political solution. And I feel that every conflict has a political solution. Because this military dimension, I'm not a believer in military solutions. I don't believe, this world is meant for military solutions.
Excellency, Pakistan is a founder member of the Islamic Military Counter-Terrorism, which is based in Riyadh. This initiative has been adopted by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. How do you see the role of Pakistan in that context?
Well, it's Pakistan probably is, no country in the world can give such expert advice on countering terrorism as Pakistan. What Pakistan faced, the sort of terrorism Pakistan faced, I'm not sure many countries would get out of that situation. I mean, there were times when, we were having on a daily basis, we were having massive suicide attacks all over the country. And it was peaked in 2013, it sort of peaked the amount of terrorism. And yet our intelligence agencies, and I must say, the more I cannot praise my intelligence agencies enough. They, along with the Pakistan security forces, they achieved what very few countries could have achieved. So Pakistan has this unique experience, and it can probably advise countries how to tackle terrorism. But at the same time, the second track has to be a political dialogue too. Yes. Because conflicts eventually, look at IRA in Britain, the Irish Republican Army. After, 30, 40 years, eventually they came down to political dialogue and the conflict was resolved. So I always feel that apart from counter-terrorism, conflicts are resolved through political dialogue.
That's it. Excellency, how do you see the reforms undertaken by His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, under the Vision 2030? You have praised, in fact, the anti-corruption drive launched by His Royal Highness. How do you see this vision, and do you feel that there is similarity in New Pakistan Vision and Vision 2030, honestly?
Well, obviously we praised the anti-corruption drive in Saudi Arabia. Corruption is the main reason why countries remain poor. I keep repeating that countries do not remain poor because of lack of resources. They become poor because of corruption. What corruption does is not just that the money that is supposed to be spent on the people of a country is taken out of the system and sent offshore accounts. That's one reason. But a bigger reason is that in taking the money out, in indulging in corruption, you can only make money from a system by destroying state institutions. So a lot more damage is done by corruption when, to be corrupt, they destroy state institutions. And when state institutions are destroyed, the country is gone. It becomes a third world country. So this anti-corruption drive in Saudi Arabia, obviously we feel that that's exactly something we should be doing. Problem is we are, His Highness was able to do this. In Saudi Arabia, I'm a bit constrained. I would love to do the same thing what he did in Saudi Arabia, but we can't do it here. But we are conducting a big anti-corruption drive.
With regards to the 2030 vision, and the similar vision which you are adopted, because I assume, Excellency, most of the Pakistani population is younger generation, most of the Saudi population is younger generation. Do you feel that there is similarity in two visions and both countries can drive this vision towards the not only benefiting both countries but the Ummah?
When we have a young population, then we have a huge responsibility to educate them, give them quality education, not just primary education, but especially higher education. We need quality universities. So inshallah, in Pakistan, we are going to, the state will, first of all, we're going to revamp the existing universities. But then we're going to start from setting up state-of-the-art universities. And we are starting by building a state-of-the-art university in what is the Prime Minister House.
MashaAllah.
What was my Prime Minister House, this huge place we had. So I've decided to live in a small place, but convert that big, beautiful place, which was just for one person, the Prime Minister, convert it into a state-of-the-art university, higher education, postgraduate university. No country can progress without education, and specifically higher education. And now what we have is a knowledge economy. Knowledge economy means that, you don't have to have resources. Knowledge is in the mind. And for us, example is Singapore. Pakistan started off way ahead of Singapore. Today, Singapore has gone, in terms of exports, way ahead of Pakistan because they invested in the people and higher education.
Excellency, you spoke about the education, and as you very well know, education and culture is the most basic factor in developing the country. Your project, Namal University, is highly commendable and highly, appreciable. We are having also a very prestigious universities.
I'm going to speak to His Highness, and we'll work out what areas which we could mutually benefit each other. And education is certainly one of the biggest areas. We set up Namal University in a rural area in what was my constituency, Miawali. And what we discovered was that if you give quality education to the people who are poor, who are deprived of quality education, if you give them quality education, their hunger and drive is so much that they actually overtake people, from, say, like my background, who went to quality schools and got good education. They have much greater drive than people like us. So Namal University was affiliated to Bradford University in England. And so people in this rural area, 90% getting free education, 90% on scholarship. Their results were much better than the results in Bradford University. What we have realized is that, we should really take education down to those people, to the deprived people in this country, to the poor people.
How you will expand this education diplomacy which you had started with Namal? I mean, do you want to have it in the level of Pakistan? Do you want other countries to share this experience? Because this is, I believe, very unique, Excellency, that, this university associated with a very precious...
Yes, obviously. The most important thing is that to cooperate with each other. So we would love to cooperate in this field of higher education. And what we have learned, and obviously what the experience of Saudi Arabia has been, because I believe, I'm not sure as yet what the state of the education is in Saudi Arabia, but I believe that a lot of education money is being spent on higher education in Saudi Arabia.
Excellency, I mean, during the visit we are expecting several MOUs to be signed. I mean, what's your vision, how we can mechanize and move forward to execute this MOUs? Because, we had signed several MOUs in the past, but we need a mechanism to implement that MOUs, because we had signed several MOUs in the past, but we need a mechanism to implement that.
Can I just say one thing, that look, problem has been since colonialism, since countries came out, and most of the Muslim world was under colonial rule in the first half of the 20th century. So when countries came out of colonialism, we had a phenomenon where we were trying to evolve, we were finding our new forms of government. Every Muslim country was going through different stages of evolution. But what started happening is that we had this new colonialism, which is where we were told how to behave. We were in the name of human rights and other issues, worrying about the state of women in the Muslim world. Somehow the Western countries tried to dictate to Muslim countries how they should conduct themselves, what culture should they have, what was right, what was wrong. And this was new colonialism. In fact, it was cultural imperialism.
Exactly.
And countries don't evolve when another culture is superimposed on another nation. Countries grow when their own culture, looking around the world, taking influences from other countries, but organically it grows from the roots are embedded in their own society. So that's how countries evolve throughout history. But when you superimpose another culture, it causes culture chaos in a country. And it actually causes problems within societies. So Muslim, fundamentalism, what is called fundamentalism, is basically reactionaryism. It's Muslim societies reacting to other cultures which are superimposed